Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy and I help people with their breakups. And today we're going to get into 8 signs someone loves you. And what we're actually going to review is according to Carl Jung. Okay. And so Carl Jung, if you don't know who he is a world famous historical legend of psychiatry, psychology, many things. He's a legend. I would say he's higher than Sigmund Freud, even though he's kind of the godfather of psychoanalysts and whatnot. Today, let's just get into it. And this is something that I'll come at from 3 different angles. And just keep in mind that love is defined by the individual. So a lot of times people think, no, that's not what love is. This is what love is. No, that's not what love is. This is what love is. If you ask 20 different people, they'll have 20 different answers. Who's wrong? Perhaps it's an opinion. That being said, I'll give you my quick perspective. If I was just going to answer this question off the cuff, not think about it really deeply, then we'll go into 8 signs according to Carl Jung. We'll ask questions about that. And then also in the comment section, you can answer these questions. But think about this, 8 signs someone loves you. One thing I don't like about this is that a lot of people, if you're looking for how someone loves you, you have to be first, right? Do you love them? That's a good question, right? Because are you being reciprocal? Are you receiving this love and giving it back? Right? So you'd be more in tune with these things if you actually feel them also. And that's what true love or unconditional love would be, is you both feel the same things. A lot of times, not always, there's a lot of people out there that are in relationships that might be transactional, where I get this and you get this. And that's okay. They know that. That's different than love, though, because love is not transactional. Love is something that's kind of natural, or is natural. So right off the top, if I just had this question on the street, no one, not thinking about it, I would say, number 1, they trust you and give you the benefit of the doubt. Someone loves you unless you show them that you're a liar. And by the way, if you're with someone that's a liar, that's not a good thing, right? It's hard to love someone that lies because you can't trust them. Beyond trusting them with your life, beyond trusting them with not cheating on you, things like that, do you trust them? Number 2, they don't make everything transactional. So when you really love someone, you don't have to do something for them and then think, what am I getting back? Or we're in this relationship, what am I getting from it? You just do something because it comes from your heart and it's your pleasure to do so. Okay. Number 3, they like to share things with you. So they share their food. They take you to places they like to go to. They share friends with you. That sounds weird, but they invite you to things. They want you to meet people that are their friends. They share posts with you. They want you to be a part of their life. And so someone's not sharing things with you. They're asking you to get them for them. That's pretty transactional, right? Number 4, they invite you to family events and work parties and are proud to be with you. So no matter what, maybe you gained some weight, maybe you're not looking your best, maybe you got the chicken pox, they're so proud of you that they want you to go to places with them. They want you to go to public events. I've noticed over the years this happens where people start to drift apart, or they're at a point in their relationship where they fell out of love. They have love for the person, but they kind of fall out of love. And this will be the start of that, where they'll have a family party or they'll have a work event and they don't invite their partner. And the partner's like, why didn't you want me to go? Oh, it's just not something you'd like to go to. It's suspicious, right? Number 5, they share all their secrets. When you really love someone, you're able to be vulnerable. This goes with trust, and you share things with them. Number 6, it doesn't feel like work to hang out with them. This, I think, is one of the biggest ones, because you can easily be attracted to someone and they can be attracted to you physically, perhaps even mentally. But when you hang out with them, it's work. It's challenging. It's exhausting. It's not fun. It doesn't flow. Really, when you're with someone that you love, and this is why I'm talking about this beyond just a romantic relationship, maybe your friends, your family, your brother, your sister, there's this unconditional layer that when you hang out with them, you don't have to try to be someone different because they already know who you are, right? They really know who you are. So if someone really loves you, they love you for who you are. And so you don't feel inauthentic or you're trying. And that's why it's really important when you start dating or you stay hanging around new groups of people, you be yourself, because then you lose self-respect. But also, when people receive you or feel you in a way that's fully accepted, that you don't have to be shy or uncomfortable, because even if you farted or you got sick at the table, they're not going to judge you. Okay, those are extreme examples, but you know what I mean. Number 7, they listen to you and remember the little things you tell them. I think this is a big one. Obviously, some people are just naturally not good listeners. But I find over the years, people are really impressed when you remember their birthday, when you remember their favorite ice cream, when you remember a story they told you a long time ago. It means that you're fond to them. It means that you care. It means that you like to know those things. And then the minute you bring those things up, they feel a connection, a green light with you. We always talk about red flags, but I like to think, where's the green lights? Number 8, they're affectionate. They like to hug you. They put their arm on you. They're not scared to hold your hand. Now, if you have issues because you had a wounded childhood or your family wasn't affectionate, that's a whole nother story. But if you're with someone that really loves you, they'll find a way to give you a hug, say they love you, say kind things. If they don't, and maybe they're one of these avoidant types, it doesn't have to do with them not loving you. It just has to do with the way they learned loving relationships. And that just means that they have some work to do, but don't take it personal. But a healthy person with love, they'll just be affectionate. They'll want to give you a hug. They'll want to be around you. They'll want to put their arm on your shoulder. Okay. All right. So let's get into 8 signs that someone loves you, the Carl Jung version. Now, I'm not going to show you the screen on this. I could do that, but I'm just going to read them with you. So number 1, there's unconscious mirroring. Okay, so what does that mean? Unconscious mirroring. Unconscious mirroring, people often mirror each other's behavior, speech, preferences when they feel a deep connection. So you've probably read about this, you've heard about it. Let me put a little depth on it. Number 1, if you hang out with people, and like I said, love doesn't have to be in the box of romantic love, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. We can just talk about love in the sense of your friends, your family, people you really care about. If you start to have a really good relationship with them, you start to mirror their behavior. You might like the same sports teams. You might talk in the same tone if they talk sweet to you. And this is where it comes in, where sometimes you have little pet names like hun or honey or babe or baby. Those are very common ones. And then you start calling each other that name. Okay? That's a telltale sign that there's love on that path. You guys are sharing the same little innuendos in speech. You start to share the same preferences. And this is why love is a lot more clean flowing when you share things you like to do and you value the same things. If someone's devoutly Catholic, it would be good if they found someone else that was devoutly Catholic. It has nothing to do with other people thinking religion's not a good thing. Everyone and their brother could say, I don't believe in Catholicism or religion or this or that. If it's important and authentic to you and it helps serve your life, then it would be ideal if you found someone else that felt the same way, and that makes it a lot easier to ride with that person. Okay. Now, questions to consider about this particular sign. Have you noticed someone unconsciously copying your gestures or phrases? So just think about that for a minute. Have you worked with someone, or have you been in an atmosphere where they start copying your phrases? Now think about this. Like I said, love is beyond just romantic relationships. Maybe you have a niece, a nephew, a kid. They're constantly copying you, right? They copy the way you say things. They copy your gestures. And that's a sign that someone loves you. That's a sign that someone's connected with you and they're resonated with you. Now, when we get older and you're in your 20s and someone's copying everything you do, you go, wow, this person doesn't have their own mind. So it's a little bit more discreet, right? So if you go out to dinner with someone and you kind of go like this and you're kind of closed off and then they kind of do that too, they're just mirroring you, meaning like, I feel you, like we're becoming one, okay? So have you noticed someone unconsciously copying your gestures or phrases? The next part, how do you feel when someone shares your interests or preferences without you asking? So this is really interesting. Let's say someone likes going to the beach. That's something I love to do. Okay, it's not for everyone. Some people don't like the beach, shockingly. I also like going to the beach and not wearing shoes. I'm always shocked when people have shoes on the beach. And so if someone brings up the fact like, I love the beach, I love going to the beach, I love walking in the sand, immediately that's a green light between the two of you that you share something. But not only do you share it, but you both love or like to do it. Now you can envision yourself doing it together and sharing something, right? Now, someone's more likely to share a preference. I don't want to say that it's good that someone would share a preference just to make them like you or you like them, but it's natural. That's a green light. Okay. What does it say about your relationship when someone starts mirroring your behavior? Okay. So this, like I said, as you get older, this is more subconscious. It's probably more with language than anything else, because people that copy body language, you don't notice it unless you're a detective or someone that looks for those kinds of things. Number 2, and again, just to put this in perspective, this is 8 hidden signs someone loves you according to Carl Jung. Number 1 was unconscious mirroring. Number 2 is someone loves to express itself through distance as a way to protect deep emotions. There's a meaningful withdrawal, is what he calls it, meaning that you're going to give that person space. You're not going to try to control them. So when you're distant with that person, you give them time and space. You don't text or call them every 10 or 15 minutes, right? And anyone that's been in a relationship where someone overcalls or overtexts, it's really uncomfortable after a while. It becomes quite needy. These are kinds of relationships that end up being quote unquote toxic. And so when you love someone, you give them space to come to you and for you to come to them when it's in your free time or the time you want. And you often hear this in relationships too, like, I really needed them right now. I really needed them. And I called them and they weren't there for me. Sometimes people aren't aware of it until you tell them. They're not mind readers. Again, these 8 signs, according to Carl Jung, remember this is all an opinion and you can agree with it or not agree with it. But just because a famous psychiatrist or psychoanalyst has this opinion doesn't mean it's true. It's just his opinion. So meaningful withdrawal. Also, what a meaningful withdrawal does when you love someone is makes you realize how much you appreciate them. Because when you miss someone, you go, wow, what a void. It's just like water in the desert. Water becomes so much more valuable, tastes so much better when you haven't had water for 2 days. And so when you love someone and they're away from you, you realize how much you value them. Okay? And you actually, when you're in a marriage or when you're in a relationship, it's very healthy to have one individual go away regularly. I know when I was young and my parents' relationship was no way perfect, far from it. But my dad would go on hunting trips a lot or go away for the weekend. That's a healthy thing that a lot of people, they don't need to go hunting, but get away from each other. So then when you get back together, it's magic. It feels like, wow, I missed you so much. I appreciate you so much. Giving each other that space is really important. And on the flip side of that is how sick of someone you get when you just hang out too much. Morning, lunch, and dinner. Now, there is exceptions to that rule where people are massively in love and they just love being each other's company, and that's when there's that quote-unquote soulmate thing going on, right? All right, let's go to number 3. Okay, so just to go back to that meaningful withdrawal. Have you or your partner, these are questions to look at in the comments, have you or your partner ever pulled back when feeling vulnerable? What was the reason behind it? Okay, so just to unpack that a little bit, the reason someone pulls back sometimes, and people out there are like, oh, just be vulnerable, be this, be that, is because when you really do love someone, and this is more or less in a romantic relationship, you're scared. You're a little bit scared because you can't measure love. You can't go like, oh, this person's 100% in love with me and I'm 100% in love with them. It doesn't feel that way. It's moment to moment. So you have this interaction with someone that you love, someone that you're attracted to, someone that you're into, and you feel like, wow, this is just, it's magic. It's beautiful. It's great. Wow, you feel this way. I feel this way. And then 3 hours later, you're not talking. And then now with texting and things like that, you're like, oh, they haven't texted me for 2 days. They haven't texted me for 3 days. You start to feel like, do they even really love me? And at one moment, you felt like they were 100% in. So why would someone do this? Well, sometimes people can be busy. Sometimes their feelings aren't the same as yours. But sometimes people, when they're in love, will pull away because they don't want to become obsessed. Or they're scared. Okay? Reading this can be very complicated. How do you interpret someone's need for space? Is it a sign of emotional protection? Great question. So, if someone needs space, it's not necessarily you. Okay, so what does that mean? It's like you could take that personal and think they don't like me, they don't love me. Or you can look at it and go, they're having a bad day. They just had an argument with their mom. The dog just died. And they just need to process on their own and they don't want to talk about it. If you love them, you give them space and then you make yourself available when they're ready to talk. Is it a sign of emotional protection? I don't think so. I think it's more of a sign that they don't want to come off as angry with you when they're angry at someone else. I think that's emotionally stable and mature. How do you communicate when someone distances themselves emotionally? Do you feel it's an act of love or rejection? It depends on the situation. So, this is why, when I do coaching, I need to know your story and what went on to get into it. All right, let's go on to the next part. Playful connection. So playfulness, light teasing, joking around are signs of comfort, emotional safety in a relationship. So this is number 3. Anytime you love someone, you should have the ability to joke, tease, and laugh. Seems obvious, right? But there are some couples out there that seem very uptight. You should absolutely have some laughing and some humor in your relationship, especially if you're living together. If you don't have that, I don't know what you have then, right? I mean, the ability to be like a kid sometimes is really nice in a loving relationship. So how do you react when someone teases you affectionately? Does it make you feel closer or more distant? In what ways do you express love through humor or playfulness in your relationship? So everyone's different. Some people aren't very good with humor, but it doesn't mean they don't appreciate humor, right? And you need to find your sweet spot when you're with someone of what's comfortable with them. Something that might be extremely hilarious to you is not always funny to them. And then when that happens, you just have to note that, right? And realize, okay, that one didn't land too well. They're offended. That wasn't my goal. That's not what I want. So you don't go there again. That's completely fine. But there should always be humor with someone you love. You should always have the ability to laugh and laugh at yourself. In what ways do you express love through humor or playfulness in your relationships? Good question for the comments. Do you feel safe enough to let your guard down and enjoy lighthearted moments with the person you love? So this is what you do a lot of times if you're in a good family. You can laugh at yourselves. You have little jokes little innuendo jokes. You can be comfortable if you feel a little bit overweight. You can feel comfortable if you didn't like the food at the dinner table and say like, I don't like this food. You can make a joke about it, okay? Number 4, detailed memory. Love is shown through attention to small details, remembering things that seem insignificant to others. So some people are better at this than others. Some people are more thoughtful than others. But this is definitely something that lands with when you do it for other people. But there's some people out there that just don't record things through their memory very well. They're very forgetful and they just don't remember the details. So I do believe someone can be in love and not have a detailed memory. It's just not their fault. They're just not dialed in for that. That being said, if you do have a memory like this and you do remember stories and comments, nostalgic moments, then I think it definitely adds to the love bank. How does it feel when someone remembers something small or random you said weeks ago? It means they're hearing you. It means they care, right? What do you think is the significance of remembering little details about someone you care about? I believe it's different for different people. Some people get more out of that than others. It means you're more in tune and you really feel that person, right? When you truly care for someone, do you find yourself noticing the small things they like or need? I would hope so. We got 2 on deck. Anyone that wants to make a comment on some of these questions or answer them, feel free. If you have a question, I will get to it soon. Number 5, the silent witness. So true love includes quiet admiration. Someone might simply watch you with deep appreciation when you're not trying to perform. I think this is really interesting. So again, this is Carl Jung's take on 8 signs of love. But have you ever felt, maybe you're at dinner with a group of friends and this is your girlfriend or a girl you've been dating and she's just looking at you or gazing at you in admiration or, dare I say, love, or with no words, and you can feel that. It's an interesting thing because nothing's being said. It's more of a look. It's more of eye contact. The smile's always in the eyes. I think you can see a lot of deep feelings through eyes, through light in the eyes, right? So the silent witness means when someone's watching you or going out of their way to make eye contact. Some people might think this is a creep, right? I know that a lot of people say at the gym, there's a guy staring at a chick and he keeps checking her out, that he's a creep. Okay, maybe there's a boundary to that, right? But his admiration is attraction. To take it a step further, there's moments when you love someone, and some people love someone that you don't find attractive at all. You might even find them ugly, but you can see the way they look at the person with intense admiration. I would say actually this is one that goes under the radar that people don't notice so much, but if you watch couples at a coffee shop or a restaurant, usually when it's new love or the honeymoon phase is when you see this kind of the way they're looking at the other person. And it's almost like if you're in the table next to them, I've had this happen before when I'm just doing some writing, I'm having coffee and my breakfast by myself, and there's a couple next to you, and it's almost uncomfortable how much they just, and they're silent, right? You don't see this very commonly because everyone's on their phone now, but the silent witness. So how do you feel when someone watches you in a quiet, attentive way without saying anything? I think a lot of people would say they feel uncomfortable or creeped out, because especially for women, they got to be a little bit careful, right? They got to be careful. That being said, when a man gets admired, you just know that this woman likes you or she thinks you're sweet. Now, when it's love and you're dating, it's 2 or 3 tiers higher. You should be comfortable with someone looking at you in that way. What does it mean to be admired without needing validation or attention? Great question. To be admired without needing validation or attention. And then the final one, have you ever caught yourself simply observing someone you care about, appreciating them in their natural state? I know that when I really start to have feelings for a woman, that there is a deep observation. It's not saying it, but you're appreciating the subtle acts of kindness that they're doing, the subtle smile, and you're observing that. And while you're observing that, it's almost like gaining fuel of why you like them without talking. And that observation comes while they're maybe cooking, while they're driving, while they're just in a calm state. And that's a really interesting thing to gauge, because so much is about communication. But when you're observing something with admiration, or a woman with admiration, that's when you're really starting to love that individual. And you'll notice that even if you do, like nowadays, a lot of people have a relationship that's long distance through Zoom or one of those things. And when you're talking, the person will just pause and they'll just want to look at you. And you can be comfortable with that. Number 6, attentive presence. Love is shown through undivided attention. Being present, listening carefully, and making someone feel truly heard. So when you talk to someone, you make eye contact, you don't play on your phone. I think this is a big one right now, because I don't think it's anyone's fault, because the phone thing is an addiction now. It's a drug for people. So, and everyone does it. And the interesting thing is, you can have couples that are in their 60s now that do it. They pull out their phone and they're not present. And it's not disrespectful, it's habitual. And so now, if you're in a relationship and you're like, wow, we didn't even take out our phone. Someone might be like, oh, it's a big red flag if someone takes out their phone. I don't know if it's necessarily a red flag, or just someone has an addiction to not being able to be quiet or not have some kind of stimulation for 10 minutes. Because sometimes a conversation, it's not the movies. Sometimes you're going to have a conversation, or you're going to be on a date, or there's a part of the conversation that kind of goes dead and someone doesn't know what to say. That's okay. You're human. You're not a professional conversationalist. And so you can just let that dead part be. Eat your food, go on your walk, and allow that comfortable silence to happen. Now, the problem with the phone is that you're just totally tuning out. And this is big now. I don't know how much this is going to affect love in the future, but you definitely aren't allowing yourself to connect in the way that you did even 10 years ago, because you're just dialed into this machine, right? So I know a lot of people have that as a complaint. How does it feel when someone listens to you without distractions or interruptions? Man, it's tough for me to do, because I like to talk a lot. I naturally interrupt, but I don't not listen. I usually interrupt on the topic. That being said, being able to let someone finish what they're saying, even when you're not that interested in what they're saying, makes that other person feel really good. I would say this, a couple little tips if you have trouble interrupting people. One trick is just to go like this while they talk. Another thing is just you need to say something, go, Also, when you listen well, don't just go, If someone's really talking, they can tell. I know I can tell when you're listening but you're checked out, or when you're listening and you don't understand. This is one of those things. I've lived in another country for years that didn't speak the same language, so they don't speak English very well. So I know you just don't understand what I'm saying. Did you understand me? And you can feel that. You're not vibing. You're not resonating. That's not love. Are you able to give someone your full attention, or do distractions often get in the way? I would say it's a superpower these days to give someone your full attention for over an hour, just because of the computer, the internet, and phones. Can it be done? Absolutely. Can it be worked on? Absolutely. What is the difference between hearing someone and truly listening to them? How does it affect your relationship? So I would say hearing someone and truly listening to them. When you listen to someone, what you want to follow up with is questions pertaining to what they're saying, or you just mirror back their words like, oh, that's how you're feeling. Because we have a propensity as human beings to tell everyone what we think and what we feel. So that's just a natural thing. So if someone says my favorite ice cream is chocolate, we'll go, well, mine's vanilla. Where if you're really listening to someone, you're like, really? Chocolate's your favorite ice cream? Why? Well, like, there's so many other flavors. And then they have a story to tell. Well, my grandfather took me to an ice cream shop when I was young, and that was the first flavor I got. Whatever it is. Learning why someone likes what they like or believes what they believe is seek to understand, not to be understood, and to ask more questions. Be curious. Number 7, authentic resonance. Deep love allows someone to be true to themselves, shedding the mask we wear in society. I think this one might be the most important. Whether you're falling in love, whether you're in love, whether you love someone, whether that you're looking to see if they love you, can you be yourself? Unapologetically. Can you show some defect about yourself and they accept it about you? Can you show some insecurity or secret or thing that you don't share with everyone else and they accept it? And you don't feel judged. That is resonance. That's rapport. That's special. It's reciprocal too. So maybe that one person is doing it for you. Are you doing it for them? And you'll notice when you're really in this space, because that person might have something about them that you never like about other people, or you find really unattractive about other people. But this particular person, you let it go. This particular person, you say, it's okay, it doesn't bother me when they do it. That's love. So how do you feel when someone shows you their authentic self without pretense or social masks? Let me just dive a little deeper on what authentic self means. It means that you're not thinking before you speak. So this can be impulsive sometimes. You're also not looking to impress, but you're sharing and being yourself. And if you think about it, I hope, and not everyone has this. And this is what's unfortunate about this whole thing. Like, oh, these are signs of love. Not everyone is capable of receiving or giving love in the same way because of the way they were raised or because of their past relationships. And so it's just not their fault. It's just ignorance. Ignorance means you just don't know what you don't know. Now, if someone's having trouble being their authentic self, maybe they don't even know who they are themselves. Right? So, what does that mean? A good way to look at it would be this. Who do you think in your life, like I said, we had 3 on deck here, put it in the comments if you want to answer this question. If you had to say, like, all right, one person or 2 people that I can really be authentic around and always be myself, and I don't care what they think, who are they? It doesn't have to be your boyfriend or girlfriend. It doesn't have to be your husband or wife. It doesn't have to be anyone, but just who for you as an individual, right? And it's like, no doubt, this person is never gonna judge me. I can say or do what I want. Now, some people, it would be an easy one to be like my mom, right? Now, just to teach you guys a little something, whenever someone makes an example, the example is usually about them. So I would say my mom would be one. Now, psychologically, the way people think, they think, well, my mom's that person. Well, everyone else's mom's that person too. No, that's not true. For someone else, it might be an uncle, it might be a sister, it might be a brother, it might be a good friend. It's usually not everyone. People have trouble being themselves. Now, when you know someone's being themselves, it's extremely attractive. Also, It gives you the opportunity to instantly reject or let go of that person, knowing that they're not playing any games, and just knowing, hey, we don't vibe. You really are like that? Cool. I'm glad you told me the truth. Right. What's up, Rob IS? Sometimes people can predetermine their authentic self in an unauthentic way. Great point. I heard an example of this, because a lot of these topics are very general. That's why I'm unpacking it a little bit. Like, oh, be your authentic self. Well, what does that mean to you? That can mean many different things to different people. But there's never been a time more than now where people are being unauthentic because of the internet. So people are becoming actors and actresses all over the place. So there's a lot of artificiality, right? So I just saw this in a video recently. I don't know what I forgot the guy's name is. I think Chase Hughes or something like that. But he was talking about one of the big things that he would look for as a red flag in a partner or girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, husband or wife, is their ability to be artificial on call. And he was saying that if someone's on Instagram, he didn't say YouTube or one of these places, and he goes, they have a setup in their house that's got, the rest of their house is a mess. And then they got this setup in their house where they play this role or this person that's completely out of character for them. And they get dressed up and they do all these things. He was saying that this person has the ability to be completely artificial. Now, I don't think it's that cut and dry. Okay. There is a fictitious background on my screen. I'm not an artificial person. But it looks better than just having my other background. Okay. So there's got to be some nuance to this. The nuance would be if someone's obsessed with doing things such as taking, 100 pictures with their shirt off, right? Looking for reactions. And being very married to the fact of what the response is. So it's one thing to do Instagram or YouTube. It's another thing to keep going back and seeing how many likes you have, right? And extremely valuing those likes. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means at what point are you doing something, right? At what point are you doing something that's not for you, but for other people? Okay. So it's like the work I do now, I absolutely enjoy it. I like meeting new people. I like helping them with their problems. I like to talk to people. It's natural for me. It's something I've always done. Okay. So it's not like a fake thing I'm doing just for money. You're doing something authentic by when you get done with it. How do you feel? You feel light. You feel fine. You feel like you don't have a big expectation. Okay? And that's a really nice feeling. I know when I've had certain jobs in my life or been in certain roles, or I would even say a couple relationships where you just feel like shit's off and this person's pushing you to do or be things you don't want. And you have to conform to them saying, I don't want you to do that. You got to conform to them like, I don't understand why you eat food like that. It's so unhealthy. And you're like, it's the food I like to eat. I grew up on this. Right? If you're out of your authentic space and that person is pushing you in there and they're putting narratives on that, that's control. That's not love. So that's why it's important when you meet someone, you feel like you can be yourself. And that's where real love is. And that's where you get love, I hope, from your family and friends that are your close people. They don't judge you. On the flip side, when someone's being authentic and you don't like who they are, it's really nice because then you can go, I really know who you are and we're not going to match up. It's not going to work. Cool. Thanks for being honest. How do you feel when someone shows your authentic self? Do you feel comfortable being vulnerable and real with the people you love. I would say this comes with age. Definitely people in their early 20s to mid 20s care what people think more. So hopefully you get better at this as you get older, but things that help people feel that they can be themselves is finding out not what your passion is, but finding out where you get your significance in a society or subculture, where you feel good about yourself. Doesn't mean you need to be a superstar. Doesn't mean you need to be an athlete. It just means to me you're proud of yourself. You're proud of what you do. You have integrity. You do something because you believe it's important. Okay? And this is where we get into sometimes jobs or careers where someone's just doing it for the money. They never end up happy. Where someone else could do the same job and be happy as they can be. When someone is authentic with you, how does it deepen your connection? Like I said, I think hi Riflin. I think what authenticity really does for people is that it gives you the opportunity to honestly let them go out of your life knowing that they're not someone you like to hang out with. You also have to read people for who they are I've noticed this, that some of my clients, I'm in my 40s right now, and they'll often say, people over 40, but I just don't have that many good friends. It's so hard to make friends, or I don't have that many good friends anymore. And it's different because when you get older, you don't have the commonalities of the way you made friends. And a lot of friends in their 40s are going to have kids, marriage. They might have moved away from your hometown. So you develop these relationships from high school. You developed relationships from university. You develop friendships from places you used to work. But you no longer work there. You no longer go to high school there. You no longer go to college. So you remember that friend and you're like, wow, we were best friends. Or Rye Flint might say best mates, right? But the reality is things have changed. You're like not the same person. Hopefully you evolved. Hopefully you grew up from some of your insecurities. And so when you meet that person again, it's like, oh yeah, how have you been? Merry Christmas, happy birthday. Oh, this happened, that happened. And sometimes you just don't resonate the same way you did. And that's okay. And you don't need a lot of friends as you get older. Isolation, loneliness, it's okay. It's not something to run from. Actually, the gift about isolation, or isolation seems like a strong word, but being alone, it helps you learn yourself. Okay, so like when you're in a space, and I just had a long coaching session with a client that I meet with quite a bit, and he's like, sometimes I'm just lonely, and he's in his late 20s. I was like, it's okay. He's like, well, I'm like, what you don't realize, because we watch movies, we see all these narratives that like people are never lonely. Okay. Jesus, Muhammad, all these prophets, they had like 7 years of wandering to find themselves. I'm not even saying that from a religious standpoint. I'm just saying that people have pockets of time in their life where they're alone. They feel lonely. And if you treat it right, you should be reorienting who you want to be next. Because what's happened is whoever you were when you had a lot of friends is probably different. And so those friends don't resonate with you anymore, and you don't find the same value. Or you just moved away. That's another thing. You just moved to a new place and you never started making new friends, or there's just not a lot of people where you live. But the person you got to make friends with the most is yourself. As cheesy as that sounds. Are you comfortable when you go out for a walk by yourself? There's a lot of value in that. There's some people that are like, they can't do it. I go on hikes by myself all the time, and all the people in the village nearby, are you alone? Are you alone? Yeah, it's great. Do I like to go on hikes with someone else? Yeah, absolutely. I can do both. But the value when you go by yourself, you can really get into knowing yourself. And then you can make better decisions about the people you hang out with. I'm not lonely. I'm happier now without friends. So the happy medium with that, Riflin, is I'm not lonely. I'm happier now without friends. But leave your door open and your heart open that if you meet a good one, you're at a good place in your life to take it or leave it. If someone resonates with you and I'm your friend, right? It doesn't mean you guys have to hang out all the time as you get older. You also, this is an interesting way to look at it. Sometimes you have a really good friend that gives good advice or is there for you. Because I have this often when I'm doing coaching sessions. Someone's like, you know what? My mom said the same thing. One of my best friends said the same thing. And I think, green light, sounds like a good friend. Does that resonate with you? Yeah, what they said, like, but the way you said it was a little different. Sometimes when you're going through problems, and let's say you haven't talked to that friend in a long time, you can just think to that friend and go, what would Mac tell me? And you probably know what they would tell you. And so that's a way of finding people there for you. And then when I go back to learning yourself, some people like being alone. Some people get their energy from hibernation. I'm not like that. I'm an extrovert. But then you have to find that happy medium where you're not being needy or imposing, trying to get attention from people all the time. Right? So good to hear from you, Rye Flint. I have lots of friends, probably over 200. Okay, I believe you. Digital friends. Remember what I told you. I think means I don't know, means my opinion. Dunbar's law is a really good thing to look at for friends. I think the maximum you can have that you would actually know, like you know them. It's not like when you look at Facebook friends or Instagram, come on. It's impossible to know 1,000 people. Impossible. And it would be exhausting, by the way. Come on. I would say that 150 is the max. Dunbar's law. If you're social and you lived within a community, or you have like a little community online, that you actually know their name and you know them. From this live stream, I probably have, I want to say 100, but I think it's less. When I do a live stream, it's over 100 people. I probably know all their names when they come on. I know a little something about each person. Okay. So when you have 200, maybe you can stretch it to that. When people get into like 500 or 1,000, come on. I mean, then I would add like your really good friends, whether you hang out with them right now or not. Like Rifling, you probably have a really good friend. Like you're like, I have no friends right now, but you probably have a really good friend from high school or college. I think you went to university, or just from your past or your childhood. And you two were like little soulmate friends. You know what I mean? Like you just vibed. And you just lost touch because you moved or you got different jobs. But if you reunited and had lunch, it would be magic. You'd be back on deck. And when you reunite with people from 15, 20, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, you're like, wow, that's a soul connection. That's like a deeper friendship. And you might have changed and you don't really agree with everything about them, but you're like, good to see you. And you can feel it when you're together. You can feel like you guys don't need to like reorient, are you friends or not? You just need to catch up on what you've been up to. And that's cool. That's really cool. That's why I always say that when you end a relationship or you end dating with someone or you end a friendship, don't burn a bridge, because years later you might reunite. I've had it in my own life a couple times, 2 or 3 times. Call out of the blue, text out of the blue, and it's just timing. It's like, yeah, no, I'm single. Cool. Who knows, right? She moved away, haven't spoken since. Well, reach out to her, Rye Flint. This is a sign for you. Just say hello. How have you been? You don't have to tell her, I have no friends right now. I just wanted to see if you would be one friend again. But check in. I just had a friend that was my college roommate. I call it one of my favorite friends, because I don't really say like one person's my best friend. But just one of my favorite friends. Always laughs at my jokes. Always gregarious. Always kind spirit. Funny. And it was like we got on the phone for an hour, and it was just like, he's not in a great place right now, I don't think, but like at the same time, it's just great to hear him laugh, joke around, and haven't talked in like 2 years. That's friends. That's good friends. So I don't think you always have to be in contact with that. Could you name all 200, Rob? Rob's like, wait a minute. All right, 8. And just to review this for anyone on the live stream, these are 8 signs someone loves you according to Carl Jung. And I'll review them real quick after this. And I went through some questions. Acts of devotion. True love is expressed through consistent, thoughtful actions, not just words, but small acts that show care and thoughtfulness. I would agree with this. I would say that it depends on the person. Some people don't like thoughtful things because they're very independent and they find it, they might find the thing that you find thoughtful not thoughtful to them. Does that make sense? So you get them something that you think is a really good gift and they don't think so. I remember years back I had a client, never forgot this. She's like 28, Canadian, good looking woman. I think she was a lawyer, did really well for herself, really well established, really comfortable with who she was. And she had been dating this guy, and she was one of those, I think she liked being single and living the single life. Casual hookups were okay with her. But this one guy, she started to really like him. And the funny thing about it, Rob, is I think this guy read probably Corey Wayne's book. The way he was dating her and pulling away and showing low attention, even some of the lines that he said to her, I was like, oh, he's following kind of a dating book, it sounds like. She was like, I just can't figure him out. He's just mysterious. It's a challenge. And then he just, I'm like, yeah, this is what they teach in attraction books sometimes. She's like, really? Really? But one of the things that really got her hung up is that she got him this gift. And the gift was, did he do the come on over, make dinner and hook up? I don't know, but it just, sometimes I've come across this, Rob, where I'm like, oh, this guy's following this book. I got a funny story about that afterwards. So she got him a gift, right? And just to, one of the things that I'm able to do, or a gift that I have, is I read people pretty well and their personality and the way they operate within a session. Okay. And you can do this yourself if you just listen to when people say, I'm this, I'm a journalist, I'm rich, I'm crazy. I am statements tell you a lot. Also, what they want you to believe about them. Right off the bat, people want you to believe something about them. Okay. And how are they showing you that? So for me, this particular woman who was a lawyer, she was really successful, wanted to show me that she kind of didn't need men. And she usually has casual relationships. She couldn't figure out why she's hung up on this one. But this was the part. She bought him. I might have told this story before because Rob I.S. and Ryan Flynn have heard so many of my stories. But she bought him one of these succulent things where you put like a plant in a bottle. It's a very unique thing. I think it's cool. I've actually bought it as a gift before for colleagues, and they always like it. But it was like, yeah, like one of these pieces of glass, and the plants are grown inside. Succulent. Is that what it's called? I just feel like that's a weird fucking word. I always feel like it's the wrong word, but that's the correct word. And so, right, it's a succulent, but it's in the bottle. And she thought this was like the coolest thing, right? And he was like, yeah, thanks, and left it there. And left it like at the house. And then they didn't talk for a little while. And so I said, and she was like, I just can't believe he would just leave it. To me, what transpired there is that she let her guard down. She showed him that she liked him. She got him this gift that she thought was thoughtful from her. What she didn't realize, stay with me on this one, because this is really good insight. What she didn't realize is that succulent's something she would like as a gift. You with me? And so she just couldn't fathom why he wouldn't like it. If I had to guess, He's not into succulents. He doesn't even like plants. Now, if she was really with him and present, or they had some really good conversations, she would think, what's something that like he uses or something that he would really appreciate? It's like one time I was dating this woman, ended up being my girlfriend for years to come. But at the time, we were just dating. We were seeing each other. Forgot how it came up. And she's telling me how she loves mushroom soup. Like, okay. Didn't think of it. Next time I was at the supermarket, I just walked by mushroom soup. I didn't buy any fancy one. I just bought a can of mushroom soup. And she came over the house, I think that night or the next night. We were hanging out, doing what we were going to do and just getting to know each other. But you're just in that honeymoon phase of dating, but not together yet. And I was like, oh yeah, I got you this. And I brought out the mushroom soup. And it was almost like she was in tears. Really? And some people are like that. But the idea that we were just talking about it, I'm not saying that's always going to land, but if you're going to get a thoughtful gift, the thoughtful gift isn't what you would get for yourself. It's something that you think that the person would appreciate because of who they are. People have trouble with that. It's a totally different thing when you think about it. Because a lot of times you're thinking, oh, this would be a good gift for me. And I'll have that antithesis to that. Years back, a girlfriend I had, I bought her an iMac computer. And she doesn't like Apple. She doesn't like expensive computers. And I thought, no, you need this. No, this is good for you. She returned it because she's like, you bought that for you. I've told you before. And she was right. Yes. I always remember that too. I was like, what? And she was like, you just got this for yourself. This is something you would buy. Correct. It's true. So thoughtful gifts are not something that you would like. It's something that you just notice that's kind of, unique to that individual. And a lot of times it's not expensive. But keep in mind, there's just some people out there that are not sentimental, that are not thoughtful, and they might not find any gift that thoughtful. They might just be closed off. All right, so here's a direct question for the 4 on deck. We only got 4 here today, but let's roll with it. What's the most meaningful small gesture someone has done for you to show they care? Please answer. That's a good question, huh? Let me think about this for a minute myself. Meaningful small gesture. I got one in my head. What's up, May? May lives in Mexico City. How good is my memory? I'm going to start doing these live streams I keep talking about, but I'm back. Of an elephant at 7-Eleven? Can you elaborate? I know, but I thought May said she lived in Mexico City before. Okay. Mother always having the chocolate. I like when I go over there. The elephant was drawing a bouncy castle in Van Gogh style, if you remember well. Oh, 7-Eleven. Okay, we got a little innuendos here. Wow, are those the thoughtful gifts between May and Rob IS? I used to live in Mexico City. Yes, not anymore. Okay. I actually have a client that lives there now that we talk once a week. He loves it there. That's a pretty good memory, huh, May? I haven't seen you on one of these live streams in a long time, and I just dropped that. It was a digital painting. A digital painting was the most meaningful thing you got. Okay. Won't be on my list. Anything digital. One thing that came to mind for me was I remember it was more of an act. So what would we say? What was the question? Meaningful small gesture. So a gesture can be an act or a thing. So it's interesting. A lot of people think it's like you said, it's your mom having the chocolate for you. That is a gesture, I suppose. But I remember, this is being a little vulnerable. This was years back, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And I remember I was interviewing for a job at a university, and I wanted the job. And just like anyone out there, right? When you really want something and you care, that's when you get your little bit of anxiety or worry. And I was qualified and everything like that, and I was pretty sure I was going to get it, but I just had this nervousness, and I would hope that I wouldn't have that now. And I remember I was with my girlfriend in the car, and my girlfriend's not like highly affectionate or chummy, but she could be sweet. And I just remember she just took a moment and she just kissed me on the cheek, which was out of like, it wasn't something we did a lot, right? And she just kissed me on the cheek and she said, "You'll get it, hon." And I always remember, like, I needed that. I don't even know if I needed it, but I just appreciated it. It just was it just calmed me down. It wasn't over the top. It was genuine, and it stopped the chitter chatter in my mind. It just was support. And I got the job, right? And it just was enough. It wasn't over the top. It was just like she stopped, she did that, and I always remember that was like, and that's why you have to think, like, in relationships, it's not like the movies where it's like this full-on dramatic thing. It's just in that moment, I was losing it. I was being nervous or anxious about this job because I really wanted it, because I cared. And instead of like, well, do this or put your shirt up, just small kiss on the cheek and be like, "You'll get it, hon." Like, yeah, okay, enough. I would say that's the biggest thing to learn. If I had one thing to learn when I was younger, is just finding out what's enough. Everything's pushing us towards more. The internet, like, people are constantly training themselves to sell you more shit. How crazy is it that people on YouTube are constantly masking themselves as good people? And then, like, they're into manifestation, they're into spirituality. But if you want to buy this course to sell, to be a great salesperson, buy this. Not even asking, what the fuck are they selling? There's a lot of people that sell stuff that they wouldn't buy. You know what I mean? There's the integrity of things is off right now. It's really off. All right, so we know that Bry Flint likes chocolate. What kind of chocolate is it? Cadbury? What is it? One of my friends from England loves Cadbury. I just like dark chocolate. All right, Mexico City, it's not anywhere. A few years ago, I got a gift of a book, kind of self-improvement book, but I wasn't sure if it was a sign. Wait. What was the name of the book, and why was it special to you? I didn't really ask. Interesting. I had a similar situation once at Starbucks. Sometimes bold actions will do that. You had a similar situation with a kiss on the cheek? Isn't that a good question? I just met someone recently that used to be in timeshare. Timeshare people are extremely good, probably the best salespeople I've ever met. As far as just the sales pitch or car salespeople. I've had a couple of friends that were in car sales. Different breed. And the way they look at it, they'll put you together. Like they're going to sell you something. What's really interesting, would they buy what they're selling? It's like, I'm proud to say I would buy coaching for myself. Now, that might sound cocky or arrogant, but I should feel that way, right? I should feel like I'm giving you good value. I should feel like, hey, if I was the one looking for advice or help, I would like someone like myself to help me. It should be that way, right? Yeah, Coconut Rough. Never heard of that. It wasn't special. She brought me a book. It was actually slightly more than a kiss on the cheek. The worst gesture I got was a breakup CD. Oh my God. A breakup CD? You know what's good about that? On this live stream, and you know me, right? We can laugh about that. So we can just clean it up as a crazy bad thing and just go, oh my goodness. I mean, that's funny. The person bought you that was the person that you broke up with. Music I didn't even like. Well, what got you here won't get you there. How successful people become even more successful. Paperback. Was it Goldsmith Marshall? Why does that sound familiar? Was it a really good book? Wow, a success book. No, they made me a breakup CD. I mean, because you broke up? Oh my goodness. You know what's funny is that people don't realize that pity when you're feeling bad is not good. Like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Oh my goodness. Oh, I wish I could make it better for you. It doesn't make people feel better. Don't you agree? Some people like pity and they lean into it, but it really doesn't make you feel better. You know what I mean? Like if someone's like, oh my God, that's so bad. If I have someone that they're really upset, it's better just to stay still and say, okay, it's okay. It's better to hold space, right? With some dignity and some non-judgment than, oh my God, because what you're doing is you're reinforcing how sad this is. You're reinforcing how bad an event it is, rather than just taking it and saying it's okay to feel this way. Totally different perspective. And then you have the other side of that where someone imposes anger on it. Oh, you should do this. You should do revenge. You should do that. No, you should just sit in it. What do I mean? Like you should cry. You should throw it all up and not feel worse for feeling that way. The worst feeling is shame. And unfortunately, you shouldn't feel shameful about many things. Change your questions, change your life. 4th edition, 12 powerful tools for leadership. Is Marshall Goldsmith? I don't know why that sounds so familiar. Change your questions, change your life. What was one of the best questions from that book, Rob? I asked. Thanks for getting involved in the live stream. I've gotten to the point where self-improvement and books like that, I just stopped reading them. And this is no offense to you, Rob, because we're all different people. Whatever works for you. They just seem redundant sometimes. If you've read 100, the next 100 are the same things said in a different way. A lot of them use the same quotes. They're not bad. I think it's a good phase to go through in your life. But if you're just a reader and a researcher, then I think, read all you want. But I also think that there's value in figuring out maybe 4 or 5 books that you can just lean on and then rereading those books or just having them on your shelf. I have like 4 or 5. I'll probably discuss that in another live stream. And one should be spiritual. Maybe one should be business. Maybe one should be communicator. I would say the best book I read this last year, and when I say read, I mean listened to on Audible, would be, and I would like to save it for another deep dive on Super Communicators. Charles Duhigg. Might have said his name wrong. Great book. I think it's, Super Communicators. And I've recommended this to a bunch of people. Oh yeah, just tell me the summary. Fantastic book. More than meets the eye in communication. Definitely resonated with me, but to be quite honest, I feel like I do this already. And good communication is finding resonance and rapport. And that's different with different people. So the people that are really good at communication, they don't have one style. They're versatile and they can find the things to resonate with another person. But the last chapter, which I'll discuss in another live stream, is really good. Actually, it was a surprising chapter. But that would be the book of the year for me, probably. And everyone wants to communicate better. connect effortlessly. Like, I'll check that out. That's a title. That's a long title. How to talk to anyone about anything, improve your social skills, master small talk. Is it bad when I see something like that and I'm like, I can do that? I don't know if I want to read that because I feel like I do it pretty well already. But I guess you can always learn something new. It's kind of long at the title. A lot of keywords there. So another question in regards to acts of devotion. How do you show love through actions rather than just saying the words? That's a great point. Well, it's different for different people, right? I would probably say that you just feel like, I feel like when you love someone or they love you, you can count on them. You can count on them. Like, hey, like you're in a tough spot. Hey, I need you right now. Like I said, it's not good to need people, but there's sometimes, or you can count on them. You can count on them if you need a ride and your car broke down. And they're not like, oh, it's just not convenient for me. It's like I have some good friends, but I wouldn't say there's people I can count on. I think that is a different tier. Right? Isn't it? And counting on someone can mean different things to different people, but like, when someone's like, hey, I'm in a tough spot. And you should feel that way when you're with someone, that you need a quote unquote favor or something to help with. They're going to be there. Obviously, someone can't do it 110% of the time, but they don't disregard that. Even years back, I remember one of my really good friends, he asked me to borrow some money, and I had let him borrow money before. And I said, I'm sorry, man. He was in the hospital. He needed it for bills. I said, I'm sorry. I just can't do it right now. And I'm not comfortable doing it. And this is how good a friend he is. He said, okay, I understand, bro. Didn't make me feel guilty. Didn't ask me again. So sometimes, even if they can't quote unquote count on you, because money's kind of that in between, right? Because like money, you got to be true and honest to yourself when you let people borrow money. Where are you at right now? Are you in a position? Because anytime you let someone borrow money, there's a possibility, or a strong possibility, they might not pay you back. And so if you don't have leverage like the bank does, you have to ask yourself, can I afford to not get this money back? And keep in mind, when the person asks you for money, they don't have any. So let's see. Do you feel loved when someone anticipates your needs without you having to ask for help? That's a big one for women. You should know what I want. You should know how I feel. You should know. And men are always like, I don't know. V5O. I don't know. I think women could do a better job, especially in Western culture, of being a little bit more vulnerable. There's a client I had yesterday on the phone, on a call. And she misses this guy. They've been dating for a little while. She really likes him. And he kind of, like, for 3 days after he said he was working on a project for work, so he's busy. He hasn't answered 2 texts. She's like, what's this? He doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want this. And I go, well, he did tell you he was really busy and he had a big project, right? So there's a possibility that he is busy. And you've been going out how long? She's like, about a month. And I go, like, you've been on a lot of dates or just a couple dates? She's like, no, we were talking every day and we've been on dates. And she's like, I just texted him recently, like yesterday, like, am I being annoying? No response. What's up, Miguel? And I just told her, why don't you text him, I miss you? No, I don't want to say that. Is it how you really feel? Yeah. Yeah, but is that okay? I'm like, do you really miss him? Yeah. Well, give him the opportunity to know that, instead of saying, oh, am I being annoying calling you? Now, Maybe it doesn't land, maybe he doesn't text you back, but maybe you told the truth is better. You're also being a little bit vulnerable, more feminine, sweet. Men like to hear, I miss you. I don't want to hear it 100 times. I don't want to hear like, I need you, where have you been? But like, I miss you is sweet, it's kind. If it's true, I don't know how it's going to land, but it's authentic. I think right now everyone's looking for like, let me hide my feelings, but let me have you like me. There's a happy medium where you can share your feelings, but at the same time, if someone's not there or able to receive them, you can move on and let go. You can be hurt by it. But the dishonesty thing's getting bad, I think. It's gotten worse. Everyone's playing poker. Sometimes it's best you just get to the point like saying, I miss you. Isn't it? I don't know. Like I said, you can say it without being needy and weak. You can just say it like, honestly, I miss you. I missed you. If someone doesn't like that or feel warm towards that, they're definitely not for you. Or if they're like, oh, that's a little too much. Well, then that's polarizing and you can realize, okay, then maybe I need to go in a different direction. If you write it 18 times and that has no value. Okay, so I went through all these just to review really quick. We got 2 on deck. It's waning down here. We got an hour and 16 minutes. Hidden signs someone loves you, unconscious mirroring, which people often mirror each other's behavior, speech, and preferences. Number 2, meaningful withdrawal. Sometimes love expresses itself through distance as a way to protect deep emotions. Sometimes people pull back even though they love you. Number 3, playful connection. Playfulness, light teasing are signs of comfort, emotional safety in a relationship. Making each other laugh, poking fun, joking around, tickling each other. 4, detailed memory. Love is shown through attention to small details, remembering things that seem insignificant to others. Oh, you forgot your sweater at my house. Here, I brought it. Number 5, the silent witness. True love includes quiet admiration. Someone might simply watch you with deep appreciation when you're not trying to perform. So if you're going on a walk together or you're out to dinner, you feel them looking at you with sweet eyes. You admire them. You like them. Number 6, love is shown through attentive presence. Love is shown through undivided attention, being present, listening carefully, and making someone feel truly heard. Number 7, deep love allows someone to be their true self, shedding the mask we wear in society. Number 8, acts of devotion. True love is expressed through consistent, thoughtful actions, not just words, but small acts that show care and thoughtfulness. And just remember, when I say thoughtfulness or care, it means that you're doing things not for yourself, but for them solely or thoughtfully. Okay, you'll never catch me sending a message after I've been left in silence. Everyone's different. All right, we got 5 on deck. Does anyone have any questions, relationship questions or anything like that? Any questions about future topics? Throw them out there. And then I'll wrap this up. Otherwise, shoot them up. You'll never catch me sending a message after I've been left in silence. Good for you, Rye. That's why when you have a situation like that, book a session and we can unpack it. But if you already feel strongly about it, then feel strongly about it. Every situation is unique to your point of view, and you have to think, what do I want? What's my intention? What's my options? It's not one, there's many. The biggest problem we have is rigidity. Rigidity. It's a hard word to say. Being rigid means you only have one option. You can only do this. There's no other way. It's like when someone's in a bad relationship, I can't break up with them. Why not? My I still love them, but I don't love them that much. Okay. If someone's like, I can't call this person, why not? Okay, then be clear on that. A lot of times you might have another option than you can't call them, but you can do something different. I don't know. But when you open up the playing field to a solution mindset or a letting go mindset, so there's two things there. So, and I have trouble with this too, but I think this is a really good way to look at it. Is, am I in a solution mindset means, what are my options that I'm not seeing? What are some solutions to this problem that I'm not seeing? And you have to identify the problem. What happens in relationships, you get away from what the problem is and you get into what you have to do or what's normal. Like people that are in like long-term oh, you're supposed to do this. It's like, well, what do you want to do? So the solution mindset is like, can we find a solution to this problem, right? Someone's a drug addict or alcoholic. It's like, oh, it's rehab. Is there other options? Yeah, actually. I would say that one of the options people don't realize is that if you're a bartender, you're not going to ever quit alcohol if you're an alcoholic and work at the bar. So try quitting that job first. Try moving away from the friends that you go to drink with. Those are options outside of a rehab. Oh, I don't want to do that. All right, so tell me some other options. Like the solutions are many. Now, if you get to a point, and this is what happens in relationships, solutions aren't as easy in relationships because you can't make people do it. You yourself can come up with all kinds of solutions for your problems because you can make actionable moves within those solutions, where people on the other end in your relationship, they don't have to do anything you say. So that's where it becomes a little frustrating. That being said, your other option, if you're not solution mindset, is to let it go. Meaning like, there is no solution here. Okay? This person cheated on me, they don't love me anymore, and I don't see this getting better. That's not a solution thing, that's a letting go thing. Now, what people have trouble with is a lot of times when we let go of things, I think what gets lost in translation was someone like, there's a few people that have channels like, just let it go. You just have to let it go. It's fucking difficult to let it go. There's a phase in between letting a bad relationship go, where there's this whole phase of healing and grieving and crying and hurting. And then the letting go happens after. I don't think it's cut and dry for most people. So when someone's like, oh, you just let it go. You have to commit to letting it go. You have to commit to not being engaged in that anymore. But the process before you get there is really difficult. So a lot of people fight that, and they fight it with, well, I can't do that. I have to do this. It's like, all right, you're not ready to let it go, but there's no solution to fix the problem. The problem's not going to be fixed because a lot of times you already tried the solutions and you're like, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. And when they're for other people, you can't impose them. So you either have a solution mindset or you have to let it go and say, I can't fix this, so I'm just going to let it go and move on. Wish I knew that one when I was younger. Jeez. So many times too, you just think, oh, there's only one way to do this. It's not true. Mm-mm. Seven on deck. Any questions about your situationships, limited beliefs, anything out there? Any topics you want me to touch on? You got my free undivided attention right now. You want to call in about your situationship? I could do that too. You got a direct question, we could bring you on. I can invite you on with a link here if you're brave enough. Let's see here. And you don't have to show your face either, because we had 7 on deck. Maybe one of you's like, I don't want to ask my question. There we go. That's what's really cool about this StreamYard. You can just punch that thing and you can be in the waiting room. And you can ask me a live question. And you don't have to be on video. It's like a radio show. Let to give it a few minutes. Would you say, Riflin, it's great to have you back on. Would you say, if you're still on, that when you say you'll never catch me sending a message after someone left me in silence, is there a possibility when someone leaves you in silence for 2 days, 3 days that you've been dating, that the reason they left you in silence might be different or wrong than what you would have thought it was? So I think that's what I think if it's out of their nature, for example, you've been talking to someone for a month, not 2 weeks, a month. You've been going out with that person. And then all of a sudden, after 3 days, you don't hear from them again. That's an open loop that'll be like, wow, this is really out of character. It doesn't become needy, I don't think. It becomes more of like, I need to close this loop. Are you okay? It's not, did I do something wrong? Or it's like, hey, I miss you. But you need to know, like, where did this come from? Because now it's created a mystery. And mysteries in the human mind, the mind's devoted to finding endings to stories. That's why breakups are so hard, because people don't want to end that story. So I think sometimes people have a right, like, hey, did I miss something? On the flip side, with dating apps now, people fall off these cliffs all the time. Dating apps are just like dating. It's like traffic. It's stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. It's very shallow feelings. And I think if that's something you can do and you have success with it, and you like to be on your phone a lot, and you like to answer texts, you like to explain who you are, and you're good with blind dates, then go ahead and do online dating. Otherwise, if you're uncomfortable with that, then just don't do it. People, oh, that's what you have to do now. No, you don't. No, you don't. All right, folks, no questions? Nope, there's someone else. That's what you're assuming. Don't make assumptions. There could be, though. Right. How much, let me ask you this, Riflin, because I think you're a very literal person. As you get older, and I believe you're in your 30s, which doesn't mean you're old, but your wisdom's higher than it was in his 20s, right? This is actually a really good question. I'll probably do a different show on this. How much do you trust your intuition? So, for example, someone doesn't call you for 2 or 3 days. You're like, what happened? I don't know what's going on. How much do you trust your intuition's correct or your gut feeling's correct? Honestly, I don't think, there's some people that don't have good intuition because they have narratives that they just have a pattern with what they believe is true. Intuition would be like the first thought that comes to your mind rather than you analyzing for 15, 16 days about it. When you like someone, you respond. It's that simple. It's just like on the live stream, I don't know if it was like last year because I haven't been doing them a lot, but there's a lady that comes on quite a bit. I forgot her name. Roller Girl is her name. And she was saying like, well, as a woman, she goes, and this can be misconstrued. She goes, if we like you, we make it really easy. You would hope. Saying that, I would say that coaching some women, they like a guy, but they don't make it easy. I think it can be personality that does that. You think that's true, right, Flint? So, for example, if someone really likes someone, yeah, like if someone really likes someone, they're going to make it easier. That's why I said, like, you make a date and the person says, no, I can't do that. If the girl really likes you, she might say, I can't do it then, but I might be able to do it next month. That's leaving the door open for not just a flat rejection, right? I don't know if it would be easier if she said, no, I can't do that day, but I can do this day. But if you just get a flat rejection or a flat bullshit answer or no answer at all, then is that your answer? I just know that there are some people out there that don't make it easy, but they do like the person. And those are the people that actually stay single. So now that I think of it, there's a couple women I know, haven't dated, but are attractive women and have things going for them. But they have this thing when they like guys, and I've noticed it, well, they'll be really nice and sweet, and you'll notice like they like this guy. And then they'll start being mean to the guy. And that reminds me of like little like teenage stuff, because the guy's not giving them attention. So they're trying to like blow up the spot and create some kind of reaction there. That might be toxic, but they like the guy. But these are the kind of women that are like, oh, there's no good guys. Oh, there's no good guys where we live. And they don't realize subconsciously the way they're acting is really a turnoff, because you like the guy, and then the minute the guy doesn't give you the attention you want, you turn mean or rude. And if she's good looking enough, she'll still get guys, but she won't get the ones she wants. Well, there you go. Mine's always spot on. People will show you who they are. They have patterns. Well, there's some manipulators out there that can win that, though. There's some camouflage crazies, as they call them. There's people that you're like, wow, I didn't know this person was like this. But that's good that you trust your intuition. A lot of times in my calls, I'll be like, well, what do you feel is true, or what's your intuition say? You know this person better than I do. I'd say over the last couple of years, I told Miguel this because we've done quite a few sessions. My intuition's really good with other people's stuff. So, because they're insecure, that's why. All right, I feel like I gotta go get lunch. I'm gonna come back on deck soon. I hope this was good, just to get into 8 signs someone loves you. It's kind of interesting, right? So just to go over some of the things. These are things I just came up because we were talking about Carl Jung today. So he's from a different time, different place. I just said they trust you and give you the benefit of the doubt. I think one thing people don't realize is that part of trust is giving someone the benefit of the doubt to give them the opportunity to lie or do something wrong, and then you can make an adjustment on that. Number 2, they don't make everything transactional. So this is more something that Carl Jung wouldn't say in the 1930s or 40s or 50s, whenever he was around. But these days, I think there's a lot of relationships that are transactional. And it's okay. When someone marries someone for money and security, okay, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. It's totally fine. And actually, they can grow into love through that. But if they make everything transactional, it's not love. So what's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is doing things for the other person that you don't feel like they owe you back. Right? What's the opposite of that? Like, I don't have an expectation that me buying you dinner, you have to buy me dinner next time, or you have to buy me gifts, or different things like that. If you find yourself in one of those kinds of relationships, it's definitely not true love, and you're actually saying to yourself, because I know that I need something else more than just love. And that's, like I said, I don't judge people for that, because there's people that grow up in environments, or they have specific phases in their life where they really need to be transactional. And other people will judge them for that because they're not in those situations. That being said, they will always yearn, or if they ever get into a quote unquote true love situation, it'll be different. It'll be different. It'll feel different. And the difference is that they'll feel more free, they'll feel more loving, and they'll feel like, I don't need anything from this person. I just want to be with them. I just want to hang out with them. I don't want stuff. Number 3, they don't like to share things with you. So they like to share things with you. Sounds very simplistic, right? When someone's really in love or loves you or cares about you, they like to share their food, they like to share places, they like to share their family, right? Thanks, Rye Flint. They invite you to family events. Number 5, they share all their secrets. Number 6, it doesn't feel like work to hang out with them. That's a big one. Number 7, they listen to you and remember the little things you tell them. And number 8, they are affectionate. All right. In closing, Mr. Miguel Palacios, for example, I just finished hanging out with someone and I told them to let me know when they got home. They said they would, but they didn't. Well, give them time. Give them the ability to maybe text you in the morning or later on, and that's enough. But for now, smile. Be okay with it. Laugh at your insecurities or uncomfortableness. Appreciate you, Miguel. Appreciate you, Rye Flint. Rob IS, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping in, May. Till the next time, it's curtains.